I'm upset, disappointed, but, all throughout the past year to 18 months whilst we've been discussing this policy, the borders bill, and more recently the Rwanda scheme, we was always told at the highest level that there would be legal challenges. It would be a game of cat and mouse between the lefty lawyers, the human rights campaigners, and us as politicians. And you know what? I was delighted with the news on Friday. It's round 2 today, and hopefully the judges will see sense and see that the majority of the British public want to see these flights take off. We've got to put an end to this nonsense of these people crossing the channel. It's dangerous. We're fueling a vile, horrible human trafficking trade. And quite frankly, let's be honest. Let me be a politician that's honest for once. A lot of these people, the vast majority of these people coming out of the channel, are not genuine asylum seekers. If they were, they come through proper means. We've had proper means in the past, like the Afghan resettlement scheme. We've had people from Syria. And look at the programme we've got for Ukraine at the moment. Isn't it funny that the people coming from Ukraine are generally young women with children and elderly people? Meanwhile, the people crossing the channel are young men between the ages of 18 and 35. Why are these people leaving their women and children at home? That's the question people in Ashfield are asking.
Look, Lee, I take your point very much so, and the data does show that the vast majority are young men, some of who do lie about their age, many of whom don't actually have identification documentation. But I would push back on just one thing, because when we look at the number of asylum claims that are granted, it is a majority. So, I hear people arguing on the other side that, look, when these people come over here, a majority are granted that asylum status, that refugee status, or granted the asylum. And so, therefore, we should accept that many of these people are genuine asylum seekers. That's how the argument against what you're saying would go.
Well, I would push back. Don't take this personally, Mercy. I would say that's absolute nonsense and rubbish. You've got to realise now that these activists, these left-wing lawyers, these human rights campaigners are very, very skilled now at filling out the forms, at going through the appeals process, at making a claim for asylum. It's a bit like, we see people now who's claiming disability benefits, and then, hey presto, all of a sudden you see them diving off the top board at the local swimming pool or on a jet ski somewhere. These people are extremely skilled at filling these forms out and making the claim. That's why it's so high. That's why it bothers me, and that's why we need to get it sorted.
Well, the thing is, some of them wanted to go back, didn't they, when they realised that they might be sent to Rwanda? Some of them wanted to go back where they'd actually come from, which is saying that this whole thing could slightly work. But my worry is, what message do you think, though, Lee, if this fails and we end up literally taking no one, although they paid for the plane and they said even if one person's on board, they'll take it, they'll take them. But if this fails, what message do you think this will send to the rest of the world?
Well, if it fails, now we've got a big problem. It says to the rest of the world our borders are open, and the evil gangs, the human traffickers will continue to take money off people to send them across the channel. Meanwhile, genuine asylum seekers from places like Ukraine will suffer because of that. Look, we are a welcoming a country, the UK is, always has been. We welcome refugees from all over the world, people that are in genuine need. But quite frankly, let me be honest again, make the point to your viewers that the vast majority of the people coming over the channel are not genuine asylum seekers. That's just how it is.
And Lee, very finally, if it does fail, whether it fails in the courts or whether it does work, but it doesn't actually stem the inflow of migrants from the channel, across the channel, does there need to be a change of leadership at the Home Office?
Well, no, Pretty's doing a pretty good job. Obviously, the civil servants are always pushing back against Pretty. We know what they're like. We've got the Border Force Union. I think they're funding one of these claims in court today. We need to be strong. Maybe the law might need tweaking. We might have to do something different. Maybe make it like in Australia, whereas if you drop on these shores illegally, then you've got no chance ever of claiming asylum. But eventually we will get there. It's been a long old struggle with this, but the Home Secretary has been brave enough to take this on, and fingers crossed we'll get it right.